This program was made possible in part by a grant from the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors through the Department of Arts and Culture, the City of Los Angeles, Department of Cultural Affairs, and the National Endowment for the Arts.
There's definitely a sense of order in a wood shop. Not only is there an order in processes and ways that you manipulate wood, but in terms of how you, as a user, have to interface with the machines and tools, there's order there. There's so much in the atmosphere of this space. There's a sequence, and having that sense of order is a great starting point because you don't have to stress out about where do I begin. That frees you up then to then explode into this other world where you start out in one direction, but immediately you're thinking, but what if I do something a little bit different? So there's all this room for experimentation. And I think the wood shop has the right tools and machinery to allow you to explore that kind of inquiry. It's actually pretty relaxing. I kind of gravitate towards those spaces.
I was actually expecting that I would spend more time thinking about me back in Switzerland. I don't do that much.
Ich habe auch die Herausforderung gehabt, dass ich gewisse Sachen zu banal gefunden habe oder zu einfach. Und ich glaube, das ist...
Ich habe das Gefühl, es muss so tiefgründig wie möglich sein. Aber das ist so immer. I'm really just adapting somehow to this city. I knew a lot about Los Angeles and the US. Coming over here, it's like, oh wow, it's really like that. It's like, it just offers all the cliches that are already new. It's just a fact somehow and something I'm adapting to. I mean, I have a bicycle and I use it for like going to the supermarket or like doing things around my area. And here, I love it now. It's super important also to kind of get out of your like leaving the comfort zone also, because it shrinks also the possibilities. I just love it to leave this comfort zone. I think it's one of the best things to do. Also understanding for myself a bit like why I'm doing things, it will influence my thoughts and my works 100%.
I think there's a traditional artist residency, which is usually a couple of months, and you go to a space which is remote and beautiful and provided with a studio, and you are there to make your art. The residencies that I've been a part of as a civic or community engaged artist have focused on what it means to make space in non-arts institutions. So in a sense, how do you create a residence for the artist in a community development corporation or in a senior center? And I think that is a different way of thinking about artist residencies. The formal name for what I do is social practice art. To me, being a social practice artist means that the social is your medium. And so the metaphor that I always come up with is if you are a woodworker, if your medium is wood, then you are shaping that piece of wood. So what I see myself doing is I'm shaping certain dynamics of the social. I'm shaping relationships, I'm shaping institutional hierarchies, and that is the transformation, or that is the finished art piece that I produce. This act of making, but also this act of living. Art has this incredible power to bring people together, and so I focus on, well, who needs to be brought together in this particular moment, and how can that bringing together of people strengthen a certain political cause or social fabric. I think a lot of my work is temporary. I create a lot of events, and I create a lot of social relations.
This is the San Diego State University Furniture Design and Woodworking Program Wingate Artist in Residence. An Artist in Residence program is an opportunity, really. Some residencies will give artists time between a few weeks or a few months, and the idea is to allow that artist focus time away from back at their home and in their daily lives. Because sometimes it's hard as an artist to be able to think of ideas or to work on projects because of the requirements of their daily life. So sometimes literally physically taking them out from a location and putting them in another location that's conducive to that type of focus is, I think, generally what the residencies want to support. But I think the key is to give artists focused time and to create that environment to do so. A lot of the residencies are competitive, so usually you have to apply. In some cases you can be invited. So it's hard to embrace it as like a consistent form of income in any way. So it's more like a bonus. You can't financially think of it as a viable way to make a living. So it is more of an opportunity. It really shouldn't be approached like work, and it really shouldn't be approached like vacation. I think every residency I've done, I've always left that residency either with a lot more ideas, or I've gone further in terms of exploration of something specific, and they're invaluable, really.
So Los Angeles County started the Creative Strategist program to place artists in non-arts departments. Instead of calling it an artist in residence, they called it a creative strategist. As an artist, I don't necessarily need to create a work product, but rather it is about my creative perspective as an outsider, as a fresh set of eyes that can have an impact on this particular department. For the creative strategist position with Aging and Disability Services, I was asked to work with senior centers. And so my proposition is to spend a few months with each senior center to really understand their needs and to demonstrate projects that can respond to their specific needs.
This is about the event. If I can find it, I think it would be nice to have to decorate one of the walls as a photo wall for people to just take selfies.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would say that is up to you and how energetic you feel.
I don't know, people like that kind of thing. It was just oh, maybe it would be nice.
What the department provides me in addition to resources is that type of access, context, and community in order to make my work. I feel very fortunate that I have been able to financially support myself through these types of residencies. And I will also say that I am always anticipating the day where I will need to get a day job.
I'm an artist and I work mostly in the field of video, sound, like experimental sound and installation. It's quite field research based. I create this language with video and sound to address topics so as land use, material use, also climate emergency topics. So it's quite often less studio-based. It's really going out and have these encounters also and finding my language also with my tools about these important topics also to talk about, to think about also. Maybe an interdisciplinary way of working in arts, because I often get in a dialogue to other specification, as for example architecture. I'm in a relationship since many years with the architect, and my whole surrounding, it's a huge crowd of architects, and of course this influenced me a lot. The artist residency, it's from the MAC, from the Museum Applied Art. They support actually this program here from the Schindler House and Residency. Schindler was an architect from Vienna, immigrated in the 20s to LA and bought this ground where right now the Schindler House is. So therefore, of course, they want to support this dialogue in between arts and architecture. So I think it's a really unique program. It's a residency for architects and artists. It's for half a year to work on a specific project. I get per month a grant or honorarium, and this nice apartment built by Schindler, and then a really nice organized program. And then at the end we're gonna have this exhibition. And of course there was a selection because of the proposal and our portfolio, so quite a big deal, I would say, yeah. Back in Switzerland, I have my self-employment, I have my job at the university and some other responsibilities. And for me, this is the best situation I could have. I really can just stick to this one specific topic and to this one specific project. I mean, it's not always like this that an artist is really specific doing this field research on one specific place in a city. So it's a bit like my safe space now, and also to deal with things that I wasn't able to deal with because there was so much other things happening and so many other responsibilities.
I was always crafty, but my parents at first were not that excited about me being crafty. I mean, they immigrated from South Korea and they were really poor. And then when they came to the States, they worked hard. And so in their minds, they were not jazzed that their daughter was gonna go become a starving artist. So I followed in their footsteps and I went into chemistry. And then my parents saw how unhappy I was. They said that we just didn't know how else to guide you and we didn't want you to starve and we don't know anything about art, but we want you to be happy. So then they gave me their blessing. I ended up taking a woodworking class and I fell in love with the area. It was just amazing to be able to design and build your own furniture. I like the challenge of trying to create something with a sculptural appeal that's not so static, but still has parameters within the field of functionality. Studio art furniture, really, you make it in an art studio setting. You might be asking different questions about the type of work you're making. Instead of just solely how does it serve a physical purpose for an end user, what other, what meanings, metaphors, narratives can it also embody? Yes, I work as an artist and designer because I think that encompasses both areas that I like to think both about parameters that come with design, and then an artist in terms of accessing that creativity to create something really dynamic and sculptural and experimental.
When we arrived at San Gabriel Valley Service Center, they had a very explicit ask of us. Most of their participants were either Chinese speaking or Spanish speaking, and they wanted to be able to facilitate intercultural exchange between the two communities. We had a couple of ideas for the center. We all know that food brings people together, and we decided to go with a Skillshare that highlighted home recipes from the center so that people could witness each other and be teachers and also find a way to continue this series after our engagement had ended. 36 is not enough? Okay, so then we need to get those tables, right? Yeah. And maybe we have to set it this way so that we still have room for line dancing? Should we have 3 tables here?
Yeah, please.
Okay, all right. We initiated a series of 3 biweekly cooking Skillshares, and for each Skillshare, we recruited a Spanish-speaking chef and a Chinese-speaking chef to share a home recipe. For each Skillshare, we also had a word of the day in Spanish and in Chinese, and so people would learn how to say chicken, or people would learn how to say rice in both languages. Yeah, I want people, this is very silly, I want people to like have an audience while they're also reading off a TV. So. It's very silly. Okay. A lot of my work is with nonprofits, it's with government entities, and it takes place in what we call public space. Yeah. Hey, Marlene, it's good to see you. Happy that you're here. 对对，你在。哎呦，王先生，你好。哦，谢谢你在。你可以放在这里也可以。You are never telling people what to do or think. You are providing the conditions for people to enter into their own processes of self-inquiry. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Bienvenidos.
I brought something. I brought something. It's mole, but it's a shredded chicken.
Oh. Art is already happening all around us, and my work as a cultural worker or organizer is to just bring all of those tendrils of art together. And so as an artist, I often find when I'm in these institutions that a lot of people want to be creative. A lot of the employees have all of these ideas but can't realize them. And I, as an artist, can walk in and say, well, this is art.
On a typical day, like really basically waking up slowly, doing my coffee, checking the news, reading the messages that I got because of the time difference. I quite often go around like 10 or 11 for swimming. Swimming somehow, it's like kind of a healing process also for me. I would even say it's one of the most important things for me to do. It's like giving myself a bit in another dimension. I'm around this like liquid. Actually, I don't really think while I'm swimming. Of course I think, but it's not like clear thoughts. I always feel a bit changed after I went for swimming. I dream a lot about swimming, a lot. It's weird, but it makes also sense. I dream a lot about industrial areas which are floated with water, and I swim in them. And somehow it feels like a nice connection also to my work. The final project will take the form of a video and sound recording. I will observe the material that we live on. I will follow the routes through Los Angeles from mining areas to construction sites. Schindler considered Los Angeles an ideal environment for the next stage of truly modern architecture. With the new possibilities and approaches came the ever-increasing demand for materials, including concrete. Today, concrete is one of the most CO2 emitting materials used in the construction industry. In the Los Angeles suburb of Irvingdale lies the largest aggregated gravel mining area in the state. The area is so full of holes that more of the land in the city is a pit than not. Specifically, it's also a weird place, this gravel pit, because if you actually enter it first, it's a wall of gravels, of stones. Sometimes I just sit, sometimes I just take a picture with my phone, with my analog camera, sometimes I do recordings. It has something really romantic about it. Somehow, in a weird way, it really calms me down. Being there with, it's an artificial nature though, but also being in this kind of landscape that doesn't really feel earthly somehow. It's not like, oh, I want to change the whole thing, but just more like also understand this process.
Artists who come here as a resident have access to the facilities, and you get a stipend as well per month, and within that stipend, an allowance to rent a place to stay. The anticipated outcomes are not defined specifically by objects made. I am making some tangible stuff, but that's secondary. Like, I did not plan for that, and I didn't put the pressure on myself to do it. My primary goal was to figure out how was I going to be able to make artwork. I was coming from a physical condition that was affecting my body to a point where I had to retire early from my previous job. In 2019, I was still teaching full-time at Arizona State University in the wood program there. I noticed throughout the year that I was getting progressively weaker. Like I was just not able to mill wood with the same amount of control before, or that I felt like I was slipping with my grip. My body shut down. I could not move. I was like stiff as a board, and I was dropping stuff. I was exhausted, and I was passing out because I was so tired. And so I thought I was dying, and I got onto some pretty heavy medication, which helped relieve the inflammation. I have nonspecific myopathy, which just means nonspecific muscle disease, or we don't know. I never really could regain my muscle strength because in my mind, I'm so used to being able to do so much, but I could barely even like get something from the top of the shelf. Eventually, I had to resign from my position. When I came to this residency, I just said, well, I'm just gonna have to figure out from here on out how I'm gonna move forward. How I'm gonna return to a place that I enjoy making, because that's one of the few things that I feel like it's not just being happy, it's not just being content, it's literally being like in the best place you can be. In the first month that I was here, trying to use these machines again for the first time was really nerve-wracking because I didn't have the strength or I was out of practice. Now I know there's a window of time that if I'm going to do anything where I need to use my muscles or, and it requires control, then I should do it within that window. Then I shift gears and I do something that's lighter duty where I'm not worried about something, being thrown back at me. To me, that was the best outcome, was to be able to figure this out.
All right, hey.
How are you?
Good, here for the boat.
Awesome. There you go. Take a look.
Okay, all right. I love it. No, this is, it's a super.
Page sequence is good. We followed your
Yeah,
files, so
no, this is
should all be
all
done.
perfect. It looks good. Yeah, everyone's gonna be so happy to see those.
All right, great.
All right,
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Of course we will.
I do create physical documents that we can understand as art. I create publications, I create zines, I create prints, I create wall murals, I create videos, but all of that ultimately documents a time-based process in which a lot of people have contributed and have dialogued about. This is the cookbook! Let me get Lisa a copy. Yeah, it was the same printer who did it. And so, and so Leo designed everything. And we have everyone's. Oh yeah, you haven't seen it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, this is amazing. I think that's one of my favorite spreads, yeah.
Very beautiful.
You get to see everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, they have Leo color-coded the sections, so there's a
Qué
Spanish
bonito.
and a,
Pues acá. Los ingredients make a difference.
yeah.
Auri. Auri, sí, claro.
Hi, welcome.
Precioso.
Mira aquí estos son lo más
Sí,
importante
ese es
de
el
todas
ándale.
las
Sí.
recetas,
Sí,
las tostadas, los ceviches,
Muy bonito.
las tingas.
A lot of my projects rely on relationship building with community collaborators, and relationship building takes time. And so many times I am spending the first month or the first 3 months just getting to know people. 不是，这是我们点的，因为我们不知道会有几多人。So I am Chinese, and I also speak Spanish. And I definitely think that type of cultural literacy is very helpful in connecting to the residents.
And then his name?
Zama Tangponi.
Hong Dong.
Hong Long. Hong Long. Okay, and then Donna brought the sushi. No, thank you. Hola Tina, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Gracias por venir. Wow, it's I love it. I love the festive impulse. Okay, can you do labels? So Tina brought chicken salad and enchiladas are from Lucia. Hola Lucia, gracias por venir. Gracias por traer enchiladas. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are used to the artist being the genius and the artist having their idea that they want to implement and show everyone. And I work in a way that's very feedback based. And so I want people to tell me what they want. I want people to tell me what they're excited about. And if people are creative, I want to know that they're creative and to help them realize their creative ideas. And I think that helps people understand us as artists. We're gonna set up line dancing. Let's line dancing time. I always try to ground in the fact that being with people is joyful, and that in a world that can often not be joyful, that it is our role as artists to create these joyful experiences. And so my pleasure is seeing the events, the workshops. My pleasure is seeing all of that come together and delighting in dancing with people and sharing a meal with people.
I decided to focus on timbre door mechanisms, and essentially that's just pieces of wood that are held together in place with a canvas backing. Usually it's glued to that canvas, and that allows the pieces of wood to slide in a track that can reveal or hide spaces within cabinetry or some kind of box system. It's been around for a long time, and people have used traditional methods and different types of adhesives in the past and different ways of working. So I was aware of those, but I really wanted to try to understand it in my way. How do you stretch the starting point of timbre function to something really sculptural? If I can create some type of repetition in that process of making, and if I can learn or explore or figure out something from iterations or stuff that happens in repetition, then that's exciting for me mentally. I love creating new patterns, but I also love finding patterns that already exist that I didn't realize were there before. And that can only happen just with material exploration.
My first work while my studying was in a gravel pit, close where I grew up, in Zürcher Unterland. And somehow I found again also the path back to the gravel pits. Taking sound records from the ground, and I spent a lot, I really kind of got in a relationship with the pits. Gravel, it's such a nice material also, but through this listening, it's a process of like become more aware of my environment, creating empathy through listening. So it's really like the sound of yourself and encounter with another surface. Being aware of the touch, like the sound already is different because it's like you can also hear my body on it. It's like a back and forth communication. The listener or the ones who actually kind of consume also the sound, they should be also again able to create their own like vision. Like this act of awareness, I believe it's also act of changing my position and my encounter also somehow. It creates other awareness to how we treat our surroundings and our environment. We have to rethink this relationship to this material.
Okay, and then do you want to like announce that that karaoke is open for people who want to use it?
Yeah, totally. Okay. Okay, so cuando usted está lista, ven por el frente. Yeah, okay, después de comer, ¿sí? Okay. Karaoke. Who wants to sing karaoke? Yeah, 小姐选项 OK。Yeah, 有。这是哪个是 Josh Groban 的？
对。
OK, all right， 我再找你上来哦。OK, yes, let's do it. Woo! I think my goal as an artist is to elevate people's understanding of public art beyond murals, which are great, but not the only ways in which artists work, so that people can really understand this is the value that an artist can bring to our organization.
A special thank you to Leo and Carol for your leadership in this program. You made it easy on us.
Thank you so
No,
much.
gracias.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
We hope to see you again.
I want to.
Yes.
This is our favorite one.
Oh, good. So come back.
You're our favorite one. Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, the community here is so good.
For everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
You
This is so
brought the
beautiful.
community together.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
Aw.
Thank you.
We all need to see a mirror of ourselves that we like, and we need to know that we can contribute to the society that we exist in. And so I think for some people, the creation of these art experience or projects can be a way of creating that mirror and offering that avenue for a contribution.
1, 2, 3.
Aura, she's a senior who taught one of our Skillshares and contributed 3 recipes to the cookbook. And she came up to me after the feast and asked to take a picture with me handing her the book. And it really seemed like that was a source of pride for her, and it was really special to share in that moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, no hay por qué. Thank you so much.
I was hoping to eventually weave my own canvas so that I could create something that was aesthetically beautiful but also structural, that the canvas serves a physical purpose by holding the slats together, but also that I was able to impart some type of design or concept on the surface of the canvas with how I choose to weave the fibers together. Understanding a material from almost its like particle size, and if I know what mixture or the way I'm putting it together, then I must know it as far as possible or as deep as possible. I guess similarly with fabric, like if I can weave my fabric from the thread, element, then I understand that fabric more. The loom, I'm really using it as like a tool to understand how linear elements go together. The repetitive action of pulling the front beater back and forth, to me, is really meditative. There's something about this distance, it's arm's length. I'm able to move it forward and back, this beater, and every time I do that, I'm consolidating fibers to create fabric. I will always embrace the fact that I came from studio art furniture, because spending time with the material, you realize you develop a relationship and you understand it so well. I feel that the more you learn materials, the better informed your concepts and designs are.
What I learned a bit also already here, like it's so obvious also how like a city and architecture shapes a society, as in Switzerland and as in the US. Maybe it's not only about architecture. I mean, it really goes back to kind of the roots also, where we actually get the material, and also to kind of rethink really like what we live on also, like going to the material and understand that. Failing is also a big part in doing art, but as long also I kind of sure what I'm doing, and I'm always finding also like connection to other disciplines, but also other artists which dealing with the same fields and interests, then I'm also feeling a bit like, okay, this is good what I'm doing. So
Ya se va.
I think there's always that moment of uncertainty in the social sphere because people are people and people will do what they want to do. And as an artist, you can only encourage certain outcomes, but you can't dictate them. And I think that is something that is scary and wonderful about social practice is that actually there's not a do-over. If I make a bad painting, I just gesso it and I paint it again, right? But I can't say, oh, let's actually go back and do that Skillshare again, and this time we'll come up with a different result. Well, yeah, because I think this, we probably gave away 40 today. Is that? Yes. Yeah. I think I used to feel more of a need to make a case for myself as an artist and say, let me quote some art theory or let me quote some art history in order to prove to you that what I am doing is art. And lately, I don't feel the need to do that as much. If people think I'm a party planner, great, I love party planning because I love what I do. And for me, it's more important to think about how we are embedding creativity in those different spheres of life than it is for me to need to spend a lot of time making a claim for myself as an artist. I think that these residencies have been incredibly generative for me work-wise. I think about the rhythms that artists usually need to maintain, which is having a day job and then going to the studio during after hours in order to produce work. I actually think that I've been lucky to be very productive because this gets to be my day job.
I think what I also get out of it, it's not just about the project, it's really like through interaction with people who live here and through understanding the space. For myself, sometimes I just have the feeling this is just great and that's it for the moment. It's also a big relief somehow to have this like my time here, being alone. And this one, for me, this is like pure luxury. In so many ways, I will become definitely someone else in this whole year. To continue also being an artist in this field and the residency, it will influence my thoughts and my works 100%. So that gives a feeling of hope, a lot. Yeah.
I feel this residency was super successful in allowing me to get to a point where I can use what I learned here and leave here with an idea of how I'm going to approach making things in the future. Adapting my practice in a new way to fit to what I can do. Really, I just come from a place of deep appreciation just for being able to explore this even, because I'm sure other people are in a similar situation. They don't even have an opportunity to do something like this, so I'm pretty grateful. It would have been awesome if my parents were alive and they could have known, because they were the ones who were in the beginning who were like, we just were worried about you and we support you and we want you to be happy. So it's really fantastic.
This program was made possible in part by a grant from the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors through the Department of Arts and Culture, the City of Los Angeles, Department of Cultural Affairs, and the National Endowment for the Arts.